Hello and a very warm welcome to Davos 2026. And it is a bit warmer
A little milder
this
than
year.
usual.
And here we are on the sidelines of the promenade. We've been tripping up on suitcases rolling in as the delegates descend for the World Economic Forum. And it's an interesting year this year. I think the conversations are still incredibly sparky. I've had a number of serendipitous moments on the bus in this morning. But I wonder from your perspective, we've done a few Davoses between us, Richard. How does it feel for you?
We've both done a few Davoses between us. For me, this is possibly one of the most interesting Davoses, if not the most interesting Davos that I've been to over the last 6 or 7 years. Why? Because from a media perspective, the media delegation that we've spoken to are rubbing their hands, if not quite literally, metaphorically. They don't need to rub their hands quite as much this week because it's a lot milder, but rubbing their hands because they have got a genuine news-making Davos. Why? Well, because of the G word, the Greenland word. And over the weekend, what we saw was Trump upping the ante in terms of threatening a number of European Union countries with increased tariffs, which is going to be bad for business. Business leaders have been saying that this morning. And then the EU threatening retaliatory action. And then, of course, we've got Trump arriving Tuesday evening to deliver his keynote in the Congress Center on Wednesday. One business leader, one CEO that I ran into on the plane at the weekend over to Davos or over to Zurich was saying, look, expect fisticuffs. A fight is expected. Let's see what happens on Wednesday. I would say from a news-making perspective, it's absolutely superb for the forum. Of course, business leaders have got a much tougher job, and we're advising business leaders. They've got to navigate their way around the geopolitical realities.
And the World Economic Forum has to do that as well. This is the first year under new governance. And I was at a roundtable this afternoon with the new acting co-head of the World Economic Forum, Andre Hoffman. And what was very clear is that, as we discussed before, there are these sort of two Davoses that are running side by side. We've got what's going on in the Congress Center, which feels quite muted. It feels quite unambitious. It feels quite reactionary. And in those rooms, in the rooms off the promenade, outside the Congress Center and the Ice Village, that's where quite different conversations have been happening.
I think it's interesting to look at the run-up to Davos. There have been reports that WEF and the organisers around it, the corporate organisers, were told to dial down the responsible capitalism, or some would say the woke agenda. And what we see here is it feels like two parallel Davoses. There are those on the one hand who are very much going along with the theme around stakeholder engagement, responsible business. And then there's the other part, principally led by the biggest USA delegation so far, who are taking a very, very different stance. The question for me this week is, how much are those two groups going to really engage at a time when engagement is absolutely everything?
And listen, the inner skeptic or in me, that journalist, as we both have been, comes out at this point and says, I'm not sure a huge amount, because in terms of the protectionist agenda we've been seeing for such a long time now, feels like a while, for the past year, it's almost, the US has set the agenda and the rest of the world has caught that cold. I think, though, that there are multilateral conversations happening, not least in our own forum that we are organising. We've got an event on Thursday which really chimes with that spirit of dialogue, which is the theme of Davos. It's called The Art of Creating Value, and we're going to be doing that at the Heimat Museum. And that really is about relationships, not the transactional agenda. It's about arts, culture, business, humanities coming together in one space. So I'm really hoping that we'll see some change and shift from that.
Can't wait. Do stay with us throughout the week. We've got our own agenda going on, as Naomi mentioned. If you'd like to get in touch, then do so. Direct message via LinkedIn. We'd love to hear from you.